Ever catch yourself thinking the worst all the time? It's a bad habit of mine, probably similar to yourself. I have to pay particular attention when I'm doing it. There's a reason for it, and it's the exact same reason that PSYOPs work, psychological operations. It's all linked to fear. Everything's linked to fear, really. It's particularly effective because it taps into our survival instinct, and that's how PSYOPs work, you see. If you can get enough people fearing for safety, their lives, that's how a PSYOP works. And what happens is when we go into survival mode, everything else takes a backseat. The joy of life, decisions, logic, rationale, sanity, all of that stuff just goes out the window to be replaced with fear, with a lack of logic, with a lack of rationale. And that's why when we go out today, when you go out today, it's likely you're going to see a sea of masks. You're going to see people making illogical, irrational, crazy decisions, all in the name of safety, of course. And when you find yourself always thinking the worst, just enable yourself to recognize that you're doing it. I have to do this all the time. It's instinctive. I think it's part of all of us. It's just who we are. We all find ourselves focusing on the worst. And when you're in a situation like we're in at the minute, all of us, where the propaganda is hitting us hard, which doesn't seem like it's being let up, let's face it, ever since those photos of people dropping down dead in Wuhan back in January. It's been a full-on propaganda since then, hasn't it? And that's what it started with. That's how Project Fear started, and it's just continued from there, hasn't it? It's been relentless, and it's tailed off a little bit, but now it seems to have picked up again, doesn't it? As we approach the winter season, it's all about cases, infections again. Even though death rates remain very, very low, it doesn't matter, does it? Because it's what the media is telling us. It's the picture that they're telling us. And yet, have you noticed the story that they're trying to tell us compared to what reality is there's a gulf between it, a large gap. When you find yourself always thinking the worst, snap yourself back, jolt yourself, just say to yourself, hang on a minute, why am I focused on worst case scenario all the time? Like I say, I have to do this all the time. In our current situation, where propaganda's hitting us hard, when we face the challenges that we are at the moment, it's going to happen more and more often. We are going to go into survival mode all the time. When you find yourself doing it, jolt yourself back, give yourself a healthy reminder. Hang on a minute. Is it always going to be worst case scenario? If I think worst case scenario, could something else be realistic here? Or am I literally just focusing on worst case scenario? Could something positive actually come out of this? I don't know. Why not? Right? Why not? The worst case can happen, then the best case can too. And then I keep reiterating in our situation at the minute, this is a psychological warfare that I think goes on a deep level. I think it's only happened a few times in history. If we look at timescales and timelines, this has only ever happened a few times, what we're going through at the moment. And I don't know whether it's because it has to happen, I don't know. But this This is happening on deep levels. This is a spiritual war. It's psychological warfare. It's a spiritual war. And like any other spiritual war, especially worth fighting or especially worth winning, it doesn't happen overnight. But we will win. If it can be worst case scenario, then it can also be best. Or it can certainly be a lot better than what we might think it might be. Spiritual wars ain't won overnight, but we will win. Ta-ta.